On Sunday, Venezuelans will go to the polls in the most hotly contested election since President Hugo Chavez took office. Here's Euronews.
Is Venezuela ready to move on from Chavez? He has been in power for 14 years and would be happy to stay there. A referendum in 2009 removed the two-term limit for presidents.
But holding on to the presidency isn't going to be easy this time. His challenger is a young state governor, Enrique Capriles, and the BBC reports pollsters can't decide who is in the lead.
This is Venezuela's closest fought election in over a decade. The young lawyer has managed to unify a fractured opposition and present a serious challenge for the presidency.
The election could turn into a referendum on Chavez's Bolivarian Revolution, a series of socialist reforms financed by the country's oil wealth. But media outlets in the U.S. are wondering, will the elections be fair? The New York Times interviewed several Venezuelans who say they fear repercussions if they vote against the president. They're worried about a repeat of 2004, when a list of people who voted against Chavez was leaked and people on the list lost their jobs. The opposition says new voting machines may make it possible for the government to know who voted for which candidate, but a Washington Post analyst tells Fox News the real concern is what happens if Chavez loses.
Right now, the opposition is leading the last poll. There are a lot of people who wonder if Chavez will give up power if he loses, and could this thing turn into a revolution?
Chavez does have his defenders, though. For instance, the U.S.-based Carter Center says concerns over voter tampering have no basis and that the election system is secure. And a writer for the Center for Economic Policy Research points out one of the Venezuelans interviewed by the Times doesn't seem that afraid. She openly tweets her support for Capriles and is willing to be named in the story. But an NBC analyst says there's more than one way to influence an election. When someone is given beer and food at a rally, is that buying a vote? When President Chavez gives free houses to his supporters, is that fair? And when a TV station is mandated to give him free airtime while the opposition has to buy time, is that fair? Chavez spent the first half of this year battling cancer. He says he's now cancer-free and fit to serve another term. For Newsy, I'm Candace Aviles. Multiple sources, The Real Story.